Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to get into adaptive and personalized education. Basically, how technology is changing learning, maybe making it more specific to you. We're drawing on insights from adaptive and personalized education.
Right.
And our mission really is just to understand what this is all about, the potential it has for making learning, well, more effective and maybe more engaging too.
Absolutely. Yeah, personalized learning is huge right now, and adaptive tech is really kind of the engine behind a lot of it.
Okay.
So essentially, you've got technology that adjusts the whole learning experience. It shifts based on your needs, right, as you're learning.
So it's watching you learn, sort of.
It's kind of like that, yeah. Think of it like a system that's constantly checking your understanding and then, tweaking its own approach to help you really get the material.
Okay, so how does it do that, the adaptation part? What's actually happening technologically without getting too bogged down in the weeds?
Sure. Well, these systems use algorithms. They're like very smart background processes, just observing how you're doing.
Right.
They track your progress, see where you might be, finding things a bit tough. And then they deliver content or maybe some extra support specifically for those spots. It's like a constant back and forth feedback loop. And there are, various platforms and tools that make this happen. That's the tech infrastructure.
Right. So this means we're moving away from everyone getting the exact same lesson, same pace.
Exactly.
We're talking about learning paths that are, well, unique to each person.
That's the idea.
How does that specific tailoring help with engagement? Does it make people actually want to learn more?
Well, think about it. When the material you're seeing feels directly relevant to what you're ready for right now, it just clicks better.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You're not bored going over stuff you already know, and you're not totally lost facing something way too advanced. It's that feeling of, I'm actually getting this, making real progress.
That aha moment.
Exactly. Getting the right help at the right time, that really helps things stick and keeps you motivated.
Okay, that sounds good in theory, but the big question, does it actually work? Is there solid evidence that this adaptive approach leads to, better learning outcomes?
Generally, yes. The research does tend to suggest that adaptive learning can be pretty effective. It seems to improve how well people grasp and retain information.
Okay.
That ability to really zoom in on individual needs and give that immediate targeted feedback, that seems to be a key part of why it works.
But I imagine rolling this out everywhere. That's probably not simple.
No, definitely not. Scaling these technologies, making sure they work well in different schools or training environments, ensuring fair access for everyone, these are real challenges.
Right.
It means integrating new tech, which takes resources. It means supporting teachers so they're comfortable using it effectively. Lots of moving parts.
And speaking of teachers, they're still crucial in this picture, aren't they? It's not like the tech takes over completely.
Oh, absolutely not. Teachers are vital. They often use the information, the data coming from these platforms. It gives them a much clearer view of how each student is doing, maybe see wider patterns in the class, and then they can step in, adjust their own teaching, maybe pull a small group aside for extra help. It becomes a partnership. Technology and the teacher.
You mentioned data there. These systems are obviously collecting information about how people learn. What kind of data are we talking about?
Usually things like how you answer questions right or wrong, how quickly, how long you spend on certain activities, where you seem to pause or struggle.
Okay.
That data is what fuels the personalization engine, basically.
And the students themselves. How do they typically feel about learning this way? Is it weird or helpful?
Often the response is quite positive. When learning feels like it's actually designed for you, specifically addressing what you need, that can really boost motivation. Students often feel more seen, more supported. It can lead to a much better overall feeling about learning.
Interesting. Okay, one more thing. Is this purely a solo activity? Or can adaptive learning work when people are learning in groups?
That's a great question. While we often picture someone working alone with the tech, the principles can apply in groups too.
How so?
Well, for instance, imagine a group project. The tech could help assign different roles or tasks based on individual strength that's identified. Or it could provide different resources to smaller subgroups within the main group, depending on where they need more support. So no, it doesn't have to be just a solitary thing.
Okay, so wrapping this up then, it sounds like adaptive learning, using this tech smartly, really does offer a promising way forward.
I think so, yeah.
Towards education that's more personalized, probably more engaging, and maybe, just maybe, more effective in the long run.
Exactly. Using technology to be more responsive to each individual learner, that's the core idea, creating a better educational journey.
Right. Well, that gives us a lot to think about. And here's a final thought for you listening.
Yeah.
How could these kinds of personalized adaptive approaches change things outside of school or formal training?
Hmm.
Think about learning a new hobby or getting better at a skill for work. What would your own deep dive look like if you had adaptive tools guiding your specific path? Something to ponder. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.